#1. So I'm pretty sure.
All right.
Oh,
well, welcome to another edition of Sacktown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason. And today we are back finishing up our second half of our top 10 films of 2005. If you caught our first show, that was number 10 through number 6. This will be the second half, which will be number 5 through number 1.
You said 2005. You said 2005.
Oh, 2015. I'm sorry. So 2015. So yeah, 2015. Yeah, so this will be our number 5 through 1. We'll have some honorable mentions at the end, and then also we'll do our challenge films for 2016. So you want to hang out for that as well. Well, as always, we got a lot of films to cover on these countdown shows. So I say without further ado, I say we get right into it. So let's start with your number 5, Jason. I'll go ahead and bring that in for you. Your number 5 film of 2015 is Tangerine.
Tangerine, yeah, this is a great movie. I've talked about it several times on this show because it keeps coming up for various lists that we do. Because it's, I think I did it for when we did our favorite One Crazy Night, One Crazy Day movies. I think I know for sure that I did it as one of my top unconventional Christmas movies. So it's a really cool movie. I remember it made you laugh because we were talking about unconventional Christmas movies, and the first words out of my mouth were, you know, it's about a couple of transsexual prostitutes, you know, which is definitely that's an unconventional Christmas movie for sure. But yeah, it is a wild and crazy, insane comedy with bits of drama, but it's primarily a comedy about 2 transsexual prostitutes on Christmas Eve. And there is a story, there's a definite story. It's kind of a quest story. They're looking for somebody, but it's one of those just crazy across the city Odyssey kind of movies, kind of like After Hours, which is another one of my favorite movies, except it's, you know, obviously very current, very new, very LA as opposed to very New York, which is what After Hours was. But it's just a wild and crazy, very funny, very well acted. Got tons of style, just full of energy. Every single frame of this movie is just bursting with energy and life, and it's just a crazy, wild 90-minute ride, and I absolutely love it. I watched it at least 3 or 4 times, but it's the kind of movie you can watch anytime because it's so funny and so well made. And the director, Sean Baker, he's done some movies before that I haven't watched yet, but he also did The Florida Project after this, which is another really, really good movie. That wound up getting nominated for some Oscars. So he's definitely kind of on the way up. So I like that a lot. So yeah, number 5 for me, Tangerine.
Tangerine. All right. Yeah, I haven't seen it, so obviously can't really comment too much on it. But I have heard you talk about this film on multiple occasions. I mean, honestly, even the 3rd time, 4th time hearing you talk about it, it doesn't exactly seem like something I'm going to run out and watch tomorrow, but you know, who's to say? You never know. You never know. So, but cool. I guess it's a good choice for number 5. I don't know, so because I haven't seen it, but we'll just take you at your word and say that was a good choice for number 5. So
it is.
All right. And then, so moving on to my number 5, and I'll bring that in. My number 5 is going to be Creed, which doesn't need a whole lot of explanation. Most people are familiar or know about this movie. So basically, it's a Rocky story, I guess, if you will. So basically, if you know the old Rocky movies, you know, Apollo Creed was his, you know, big nemesis in the first 2 films. You know, he was also part of number 3 and then number 4 as well, for the beginning. But so you probably know that story if you know the Rocky one. Well, this is Creed. This is basically about Apollo Creed's son, and him like wanting to become a boxer and not really knowing a lot about who his father was and that kind of stuff, and eventually, you know, gets more information about his dad and kind of eventually kind of finds Rocky to get him to train him to become a fighter and a boxer. And it's just a really, really good moving story. And, you know, I've always been a big fan of the Rocky series, and I think this is just another really good addition to that series. I can't say that I've liked every single Rocky film. I know a lot of people don't like Rocky 5. I was a fan of that one. The ones after that, I don't really remember that well. I remember like there was a couple where he like was one where he came out of retirement at like 60 for like some like boxing match or something like that.
Rocky Balboa.
But I mean, this one's definitely. Yeah, Rocky Balboa, where he's like super old and, decides to come out of retirement to fight or whatever. But this is good. I thought it's a new story. I thought it would add a little fresh element. I mean, it still obviously had a lot of the tie-ins to the Rocky and that kind of stuff. But, clearly Rocky at this point is old and retired. So it's more about his story. There was a sequel that I thought was also really good also to Creed. And then supposedly they're making another one. But from my understanding, Rocky's not going to be in that other one. And so that they were kind of moving on from his story, which, I mean, I know some people had issues and faults with that, but, I'm still intrigued to see how that goes because, I mean, honestly, Rocky was the tie-in to that, but, he's already pretty much, older and he's not boxing anymore. You know what I mean? So he's just coaching and he mostly slurs his words half the time. So, so it's, I don't know. I'd still be interested to see what the next Creed installment looks like personally, but so take it as you will. In any event, that is my number 5 film, Creed.
Yeah, I liked Creed a lot also. It would definitely be, it's not in my top 10, but it would definitely be in my runner-ups for sure. But yeah, it's just a really well acted, really kind of, rousing, crowd pleasing movie. And, I can definitely, appreciate a good crowd pleaser. Well done for sure. Yep.
Absolutely. All right. And then we will bring in your next film, which is going to be Ex Machina. I
think it's Ex Machina. I think is Ex Machina. Yeah, I'm not great with pronouncing that either, but yeah.
I just like it. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I enjoy it, and that's all I need to say about that.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is, I mean, we talked about it last time because it was in the bottom half of your top 10, and yeah, we both really enjoyed this movie. It's just a really good, really smart, really tense science fiction movie with a lot of really good performances. It's just a really, really good movie. And, we went into more detail last time, but yeah, I liked it a little bit even more than you, it sounds like. But yeah, it's just a really great, smart, dark, unpredictable, well-acted, well-directed science fiction movie. For sure, number 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. So I really enjoy it. Like I said, it was in the bottom half of mine. It was actually number 10, which, is not a knock or a slight on it or anything like that. I really did enjoy it. It just, chips fall where they may. But it's a really good story. And like you said, I definitely one that, I urge anybody or urge anyone to watch if you haven't seen it. So definitely great choice. It's just five spots too high, for my taste. but I definitely enjoyed it and thought it was a really, really good film. So good choice. Cool. Good choice.
Oh, I know.
What's that?
I said, oh, I know. I think we might have a little bit of a delay, but sorry. Yeah.
Well, moving on to where are we on?
You were number 4.
That was your number 4. Oh, my number 4. Oh, sorry. I got confused because it's going to be pretty simple. So my number 4 is actually going to be Sicario. And you'll know why it's going to be simple in a second here. But my number 4 is Sicario, which is just a really, really good, intense action film. Great cast. Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, James Brolin. Basically, it's kind of more her story in the beginning because she's basically like this FBI agent that kind of stumbles upon like this, kind of like this house that has like all these like bodies in it, like drug trafficking or something of that nature, where they they killed all these bodies, and it's part of the drug trafficking drug game. And she kind of gets involved with like what she thinks is like these like special ops, like DEA agents or something of that nature, but I'm not quite sure if we know exactly which government department these people actually work for. And that would be James Brolin, because his character, and then he brings in Benicio del Toro's character, who's like basically definitely like kind of an outsider. And so, and then he comes in and they basically go to Mexico to like, get like this drug kingpin to like uncover this ring and things of that nature. But they're really they have some ulterior motives as well, where she's kind of more like the straight and narrow FBI agent. Everything's got to be by the book. And they clearly are not by the book at all. They have their own agenda and their own mission. And so that kind of makes it kind of a little bit of a challenge for her. But there's a lot of action, a lot of gunplay, explosions, just a big, action-packed, blockbuster, if you will. Definitely, like I said, definitely was one of my favorite movies that year. One that I watched, I just watched it, actually rewatched it recently with my son, maybe about a month ago or so, and he loved it as well. So just a really, really good film. So,
yeah, I love Sicario. Yeah. I love Sicario, and it's might as well just segue into my number 3, which is Sicario. So, excellent movie. I would classify it more, even though it does have a lot of great action in it. To say it's an action movie kind of makes you think, or kind of makes me think of like an action. I don't know. I think of it more as a thriller that has a lot of action elements, because it is pretty grisly. It's pretty dark. Like somebody that you tell.
But I don't know. I think that the alone, I would say, makes it kind of an action movie. You know what I mean? There's a lot of bloodletting in this film, so I don't know that I can 100% say that it's not an action movie, because there is quite a bit of action, and like I said, it's got a pretty high body count as well. So I don't know, but I mean, I guess you could say it's a thriller, or not. But I don't know. I still think it's an action movie personally. So, but
yeah,
I'm not gonna fight you over whether or not it's an action movie, because it's just a difference of opinion, basically. But either way, it's a really, really good movie, and if you haven't seen it, I definitely urge anyone to check it out. So because there is a lot of action, and I guess there's a lot of thrills, since Jason calls it a thriller.
All right.
All right. Well, that was your number 3. We're actually moving through this quite quickly. So go and bring in my number 3. Sorry, that threw me off. That my number 4 was Sicario, your number 3 was Sicario, so it kind of threw me off a little bit. But I'll bring my number 3 in real quick here for you, and my number 3 is going to be Straight Outta Compton, the story of NWA. So one that I definitely really, really loved. I enjoyed this. I've always been a big fan of like NWA and West Coast hip hop and rap. It's kind of what I grew up with. Always been a big Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, Ice Cube, MC Ren, all those guys. I definitely, I knew a lot about their story. I didn't know everything, obviously, how the group formed exactly. And, I knew a lot about their trials and tribulations and things that happened with them in terms of like, Eazy-E, dying from getting AIDS and just like all, the issues, all the legal issues and trouble that Dr. Dre got into, and the band kind of breaking up and kind of going their own separate ways and that kind of stuff. But it's just kind of nice to see it like in a movie, all kind of chronicled out for you, because it does have to span like over like a couple decades really in order to get to everything that happened with them. But it was a really good story. I thought it was a really, really good film. One that, like I said, I highly enjoyed. I definitely think that it was one of the better biopics, that I've seen. Like I said, I know that like we've had this conversation before about like how biopics tend to all kind of follow that same mold about, their rise to fame, the big hits, and then, all the drug use all comes crashing down, and then kind of the redemption story. This one kind of doesn't really follow that exact same mold, so maybe that's why I didn't like it. It is a little bit different, but it's mostly because it's a group, and most of their problems was more like legal issues in terms of like not getting paid, and in terms of being like ripped off by like Jerry Heller and that kind of stuff. So that's more so where all their crashing and spiraling down points came from, was more stemmed from that, not so much like drug use and that kind of stuff. And then obviously with Eazy-E and like, you know, contracting like HIV and then eventually AIDS and that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, definitely really, really good story. Very moving story. Definitely, you know, if you don't know a lot about the NWA story, you don't necessarily have to be the biggest fan of the group to watch it, because I think almost any biopic you can watch and get some sort of enjoyment out of. You know, I'm not, I know you talked about Love and Mercy. I actually ended up watching that over the weekend. You know, I'm not the hugest like Beach Boy fans. You know, I always thought their music to be a little hokey, a little too sunshiny, a lot of it. I mean, I know they had some darker stuff in their later years, but you know, it's a little too, you know, fun, beach, you know. So I was never a big Beach Boys fan because of that, but the biopic wasn't bad. I didn't have any issues with the biopic. But like I said, so there are good biopics out there that don't follow that same Ray and Get On Up and all the other ones that have come out in recent years that kind of follow that same story. Yeah, Walk the Line, all the ones that follow that same story. This one's a little bit different, so I do like that aspect about it as well.
Cool. Yeah, well, I'm glad you like Love and Mercy. Yeah, it's and kind of you got Paul Giamatti playing the same kind of bad guy. In both of them.
I mean the same kind of like sleazy like. You know, this one he played Jerry Heller, so he's more like, you know, he was more sleazy in that sense. In Love and Mercy, he's more
quack,
creepy. He's more creepy in that one. You know what I mean? He's just really, really just like creepy. Like, you know, there was like, I remember they were like at like, I don't know, the movies or some show or something like that, and like the girl's like talking to Brian Wilson, and he's like, I'm sorry, what did you say to Brian? what was the conversation you guys are having? You know what I mean? So, that was kind of creepy. So
in that one he's kind of almost like the kind of stalker, like celebrity hanger-on kind of. You know, like he's just desperate to stay in his life. You know what I mean? Just like keep giving him more drugs. You know, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they never quite really say how he even like really came about in the movie. You know, you probably have to do more research on that. But yeah, he was definitely pretty creepy. But yeah, like I said, he's, you know, Paul Giamatti is a great actor, so obviously he's always you know, good in almost everything that he does. So, and he could play many different roles, but playing like creepy, slimy, you know, scumbags, I think it's kind of I think that's his jam. That's his wheelhouse. That's where he's best.
He's pretty convincing. Yeah. But
he's a pretty convincing scumbag for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we should get back to Straight Outta Compton. Yeah, I love Straight Outta Compton. I thought it was great. It's a really entertaining movie. Another one, kind of like Creed, that you know, it didn't make my top 10, but it's definitely a movie from 2015 that I really thoroughly enjoyed. Yeah, sorry. You know, I did have a couple of issues with it. I mean, I remember, first of all, I haven't seen it in 6 years. You know, I haven't seen it since it was in the theater, although I really enjoyed it.
Probably the same.
But I do remember thinking that they made it look like they taught Eazy-E how to rap in about 5 minutes. I remember thinking that, you know, it was a little kind of rushing through it a little bit, but you know, that's admittedly that's a little nitpicky, you know, whatever. It's just a really entertaining movie. I am an NWA fan, but like you said, it doesn't, you know, if a movie's well made, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to be a fan to appreciate the story. In this case, I am both a fan and I did appreciate the story. So yeah, good choice.
I definitely think with all biopics, it helps. It does help if you're a fan. I think, you know what I mean. I think
you got to bring in your interest.
Yeah, I think there's very few biopics that I can say that I love, and I wasn't a fan of their music. You know what I mean? Like it's like one of those things where I think the music and because there's going to be nothing but their music throughout the film as well. So same with NWA, there's going to be nothing but, you know, rap and NWA and hip hop type music throughout the film. So if that's something that you don't jive with, then I don't know, maybe you don't love that, you know? So it's hard to say, but like I said, I enjoyed Love and Mercy, and, you know, and I'm not a big Beach Boy fan. You know, I can't say that I hate the Beach Boys, but I would never buy their album probably, you know what I mean? Outside of a couple songs, I don't think that I've been a huge huge fan of theirs, but but I enjoy the biopic, so I thought it was funny and entertaining, and so as long as it's entertaining, I can usually watch anything. So
yeah, good.
Cool. Moving right along to your number 2, and I'll bring that in. Your number 2 is going to be It Follows.
Another one.
About that one before.
Yeah, yeah, another one that we already talked about in the previous show because it was in the bottom half of your top 10. But yeah, so we went into detail there. I won't go into too much detail here, but I love this movie. Anybody who knows me, anybody who's been watching this show for any length of time knows that I'm a big horror fan. It's not that you're not, but it's my genre where action is more your genre. And I'm always on the lookout for good horror movies. And I'm not one of those people that is constantly saying like, "Oh, all horror movies these days suck," because I think if you think that, then you're not really looking very hard. Because I've seen many, many, many great horror films in the last few years. You just have to know where to look. This one was pretty successful, so it wasn't, it was a little under the radar. It wasn't way under the radar. But I'm just saying, like, there are plenty of good horror movies always being made. You just don't know where to. You just need to know where to look. This movie, it's got a really catchy premise. It has a really cool look to it. It has a great score. I don't often buy instrumental scores, but this is one where I actually bought the CD and I still listen to it. It's good music to, I don't know, read or study to. Even though it does make you jump a few times, the music. But it's got a really cool, like early 80s John Carpenter look to it. It's got that steady cam gliding down the streets, very much like Halloween or something like that. So it's just very much my cup of tea. It's an idea-driven horror movie. It's genuinely creepy. It's well acted. It's got a cool look to it. It's the kind of movie that I could throw on anytime and enjoy. And it's got several scenes that really stick in your memory. So yeah, it's the kind of movie that's keeping the genre alive, which I'm happy about. So yeah, it's my number 2 for the year. Yep.
Cool. But yeah, I love it. It was my number 9. So yeah, so definitely one that I love. I think it's great. But like, yeah, number 9. But it's one of those ones where I know people that don't like this one. So it's like one of those ones where I'm kind of hesitant to recommend it for everybody. I think that if you're a true horror fan, you'll love it. But it's definitely one that not everybody jives with for whatever reason. So but I like it, you like it, and hopefully if you're watching, you like it as well. So, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see you in the comments. All right, moving on to my number 2, and I'll bring that in. And my number 2 is going to be The Hateful Eight. So we already talked about that in a previous show as well, so don't need to spend a whole lot of time on that either. Jason kind of broke that one down. It was in his previous countdown. It was your number 5, 6?
7 or 6, I think. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it was your number 7. So definitely, like I said, I'm a huge Tarantino fan. He is definitely my favorite director. I still give this one 5 stars. It is in the bottom half of my Tarantino films, so definitely is down towards the bottom. But that's not a knock on it or any of his films, really. It's just there are just other ones that I like better. And Jason and I have had this debate before. I think we give like the first. I think we're in unison for like the first 4 or so.
Yep.
So like the top half of his films were like pretty much in unison with in terms of which ones we like the best. Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill Volume 1, Jackie Brown. I think Kill Bill Volume 2. I think we both agree on that, and then I think that's where we kind of differentiate from all the ones that come after, where we rank them. But like I said, for me, it's kind of like pulling hairs for the most part, because I still love them, and it's the kind of thing where you ask me to give them in order, and I can give them to you. But if I were to watch some of those bottom ones again, I may reshuffle or reposition them just based on just having recently watched them in recent memories. Because I haven't watched Reservoir Dogs in many years, and I put that one more towards the bottom, not the very bottom, but it's more probably right above for me, Death Proof. So it is definitely more towards the bottom. But who knows? I might watch it again and bump it up a little bit. I don't know. So it just kind of like it's just one of those things. So, but I definitely love The Hateful Eight. I thought it was great. I think everybody was really good in this. You know, like the setting of it. It was funny, great dialogue, and you know, lots of violence, especially towards the end. So, I'm always a fan of some violence. So, you know, if violence is going down, I'm there, baby. I'm there. Sign me up. So, but that's my number 2, The Hateful Eight.
Yeah, obviously I love it. You know, like you said, like it's you know, we agree on the top 4, and then after that we tend to differ on how we rank them. But really, you know, I give all of them 5 stars. You give all of them except for 1 5 stars, which you give 4.5. You know, it's not that big of a demerit.
Yeah, and that's cool. I mean, 4.5 is not like I'm really being tough on it. You know what I'm saying?
No, no. So it really is like splitting hairs. You know, it's it's just shuffling them around. It doesn't really matter. Like I could watch any of them any day of the week and love it. I was going to ask you, have you watched? Because I haven't. Have you watched? I hope it's still there, but I think on Netflix they have like a director's cut version that is split up into half-hour increments, so you can watch it kind of like a limited series. Like I think it's 8 half-hour increments. So you can kind of watch it like a limited series, like the full like 4-hour version, which I keep meaning to do, but I keep forgetting about it. So it's kind of like a serial. You know what I mean?
What's it called?
Like a serial, you know, like it's Hateful Eight. It's like the director's cut, but it's split up on Netflix into like 8.
Oh no, I haven't even seen anything on it. Oh, so it is called still The Hateful Eight, just split up. I thought maybe they called it something cutesy or something, but no, I haven't seen it.
No, yeah, we both should watch that because it's like the director's cut. It's got stuff that's not in, you know, the theatrical version. But because it's so long, they split it up like a limited series, like half-hour increments. So I keep meaning to watch it that way, just to see how it plays, like as a serial, you know. But I keep forgetting. So I hope it's still there. That was years ago that I heard about it. So.
Yeah. Maybe I will check it out and see.
Something to check out.
It'd be cool to see like stuff, you know. And I can see, because it is kind of a play, so I could see how you could break it up into 8 different parts or 8 different stories. So yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I will check that out.
Yeah.
If it's still there.
It should be. It should be. I don't think they'd go to the trouble. Yeah, I don't think they'd go to the trouble to present it that way and everything if they didn't have some kind of long-standing contract with Tarantino. And, you know, so it's probably still there.
Yeah. The only thing that annoys me about Netflix is not only will they remove stuff randomly, but, you know, like their movies, like their Netflix originals, you can't even get them on like DVD or Blu-ray or anything. So that's the other annoying part about them, you know? So it's just like, you know, it's like if something's been out for like 2 years that you guys showed like 2 years ago, like I should be able to get it on Blu-ray. So I don't know. So
yeah, some of them have. Like I know The Irishman and Roma were actually released by Criterion on Blu-ray. But yeah, for the most part, most of them
those were Oscar-nominated film, but those were Oscar-nominated and Criterion films. So yeah. I don't know. I think if it's just like a regular movie, issue,
like Stowaway,
yeah, like Stowaway, you probably won't be able to, you know, get that one, you know, or you know, I've seen like something where it looks like maybe somebody made their own copy before. I was looking at something and it was like $30 or something like that, like $35 for like the DVD of it, but it looked like someone just printed like a copy online and maybe like downloaded the film and put it in a disc or something like that. I was like, wow,
yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, moving on to your number 1.
You want to just do this at the same time?
I mean, yeah, we can do it at the exact same time. So I'll bring it in. So your number 1 was...
And your number 1?
Mad Max Fury Road. And my number 1 was not that. My number 1 is actually not... No, my number 1 is also Mad Max Fury Road. So another one of those years where we both have the same number 1. It's happened a couple times. Mm-hmm. I don't think it happens all the time, but it has happened a few times where we both have the same number 1. Usually like the Tarantino ones usually are the case, but this is one of the rare years where neither one of us had Tarantino film as our number 1. And just because Fury Road, I mean, that movie like is just it's just a phenomenal film. I mean, if you had me like actually like rank it, I would say it's probably, you know, I would probably put it in like my top, you know, 2 or 3 of the last 20 years. You know what I mean? Easily. So I just love this movie top to bottom. I think it's just great. I think that the story's great, the acting's great. It's just a really, really good story. It's just like it's a chase film. So the entire movie, they're pretty much on the run, you know what I mean? And it's just so intense. And it's like one of those films that just doesn't really seem like it lets up at any point, you know? And it's just great. I think it's just a great film. I know there's supposed to be potentially some other installments of this series. I don't know if that's still going to happen or not. I haven't heard anything about anything in development or in production, but I remember hearing at one point they were supposed to, you know, continue on with like another edition of this one. So I don't know if that's still on the docket or not, but I really hope that they do, because I'd be interested in seeing more about that story. You know, if it's done well, of course, and there's a point and a plot. And I feel like there would be, because this was just one little slice of what's going on, like the post-apocalyptic world of Mad Max. You know, I'm sure they could go into tons of different stories and tons of more crazy, insane characters. You know, like Injun Joe with his breathing mask on, and you know what I mean, and all this other kind of stuff. So so I think definitely I would definitely be there for something else. So for another installment of this film. So
yeah,
your thoughts. Sorry.
yeah. I mean, everything you said and more. You know, I mean, I thought it was fantastic. Like easily the best movie of that year, top to bottom. Just a great action movie, a great fantasy film, great science fiction, I guess you could say. It's got some really great dramatic elements. It looks amazing. Pretty much everything about this movie is just excellent, you know. And I think it's really cool that they brought back George Miller, you know, who directed the other Mad Max movies, you know, and it made me go back and rewatch. Actually, I don't think I had ever seen the original Mad Max. So I watched that for the first time, which was really good. I rewatched The Road Warrior, which I hadn't seen in probably 20 years, and I was reminded how good The Road Warrior is. I haven't gone back to Beyond Thunderdome yet. My impression of that one is not quite as good as the other two, but you know, maybe I have
a weird one with that one. I haven't watched any of them, and yeah, I was gonna say I hadn't watched any of them in a long time, but the one that sticks out the most in my memory was Beyond the Thunderdome, because you know, the other two were probably a little bit before my time. You know what I mean? So they were, you know, they came out years before that. So my memory is more fresh on Beyond the Thunderdome. You know what I mean? Because I was a little bit older and more aware of, you know, films at that point. So that's the one I always remember in my head. But you know, because I was really young when I saw the first two, so I should go back and revisit all 3 of them at some point. So,
yeah, the Road Warrior in particular is really, really awesome, really great. The only thing I remember about Beyond Thunderdome was Tina Turner and her huge giant earrings, you know, in the song. You know, I love that song. You know, holding it, the hero song. What is it? We Don't Need Another Hero. Yeah. So yeah, but this movie is amazing. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered it. It's an amazing movie, easily the best movie that year. And you know, it's rare that a movie, you know, like a wall-to-wall action movie like that gets, you know, all kinds of Oscar nominations too. But this movie did, and it deserved them. So yeah, awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, you know, when I think about that last the 2000 to you know, 2000 to 2020, like I said, that movie's easily probably in like my top 2 or 3 of all the films of those collective years. So you know, almost any year that it came out in, it might have been, you know, pretty close to number 1 of that year. You know what I mean? Like for most of those years. I mean, I have to go back through and look at every single year, but it definitely would be up there for sure. So. But yeah, I love that movie just top to bottom. It's just great. So,
and I do think I remember they're going to make. I think they were going to make like a Furiosa movie, you know, with Charlize Theron's character. I thought they were going to. I'm not sure if that's still on the docket, like you said, but it would be really cool if it was. You know.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you could definitely do 2 different arcs with his character and her character for sure. So.
Yeah.
because they definitely, you know, I'm assuming went their own way after that film, after you know everything happened. So, but that would be cool too.
Yeah.
Cool. I was just gonna run through some honorable mentions real quick.
Oh yeah.
So I had Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, Inside Out, Furious 7, Spy, and Room were like the last couple that I had.
Okay. All right. I've got a few more
honorable mentions, or?
Oh yeah, I have a few more than you as usual. So first of all, Creed and Straight Outta Compton, which you already mentioned. On top of that, in no particular order, Inside Out, Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation, Steve Jobs, The Invitation, Bridge of Spies, Trainwreck, Mistress America, Krampus, The Black Coat's Daughter, Goosebumps, the SpongeBob, second SpongeBob movie, Turbo Kid, Chirac, The Wolfpack, A Very Merry Christmas, Grandma, The Nightmare, Meru, Sunshine Superman, and Evolution.
Cool. A lot of ones there. You know, I like a lot of those ones, and you know, I might have included some of those ones if I could have did if I did a top 20. Some of those other ones would be in there. So, but yeah, definitely liked a lot of those. I just, you know, I will, whether it was on that list, I may not have even added all of the ones because some of those ones might have been ahead of some of the ones in my honorable mentions. But you know, I don't. Yeah, I look at the top 10 specifically. I kind of add the honorable mentions as kind of an afterthought, unless it's one that I was kind of considering for my top 10 strongly or something like that. So,
yeah. Well, these are all ones I would have strongly considered for my top 10. So,
yeah, I know. There's like 50 every year. So, for you. So,
whatever.
And they're all 5 stars. No.
Or 4.5, probably. Maybe a couple of 4s.
Yeah. But no, yeah. So well, that's that list. We do have our challenge films for 2016. So I don't know when we're gonna do that show yet, but whenever we do that, so basically, once again, I always explain this: challenge films are basically Jason challenges me to watch a film that he's seen that I haven't for 2016, and I'll challenge a film for him that I've seen that he hasn't for 2016. You said there was like a gazillion that you had. So what did you come up with for me for 2016?
There were several. I forgot to.
I forgot every year.
Yeah. This wasn't as bad as one previous year. I don't remember what year it was, but it was like, man, so many to choose from. This was just like a few that I had a hard time choosing from. But I'm gonna assign you one that I thought for sure you had seen. I thought we'd even talked about it before, but I guess not. And that is The Edge of 17. It's just a real solid coming-of-age movie. The Edge of 17. So it's just a real solid coming-of-age movie.
One. I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah. It's real good. I think you'll like it a lot. Real solid, really well acted, funny. It reminds me a lot of, it's something like The Spectacular Now, you know, and I know you like The Spectacular Now. So, yeah, I think you'll like it.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. You had a few that for 2016 as well that you hadn't seen. I ended up going with one that I don't know, just one that I thought was fun. I thought that you might have the best chance of liking, not necessarily the ones that I like the best. Because there's definitely a few that I like probably better than this one, but I didn't think that you would like it as much, so I didn't go with some of those ones. I actually went with The Accountant. I think you might like that. It's got Ben Affleck in it, so I think you might enjoy that one. So it's kind of an action thriller. It's got Anna, what's her name in it too?
Kendrick.
We were just talking about her in the last Stowaway. What's her name? Anna Kendrick.
Yep.
Yeah, Anna Kendrick's in there as well, I think.
Yeah.
So
cool. Yeah. That's one I always kind of meant to see. You know, I always kind of meant to see that one, but it just never crossed my path, I guess. So, yeah, I had a feeling that's what you were going to give me. Yeah. What were some of the other ones that you were thinking of?
I'd have to look at that year, to be honest with you. I just remember there was like a bunch that you... Actually, I don't have to look at that year. I can just look at your list that you sent me. So that'd be quicker. There was one that I really do like from that year, but I didn't think that. Oh, this is my list. Never mind. I was like, I haven't seen any of these films. What's going on here? Let's see. I don't remember now.
That's no big deal, man. Don't worry about it. I was just curious.
Yeah. Oh, 13 Hours was one that I was considering. I really like that one a lot. It's a pretty gritty action movie, but I don't know. It definitely has gotten some. I don't want to say complaints, but definitely people have compared it to like some like pro, propaganda film because it deals with like the
Benghazi,
the Benghazi thing. So so I wasn't for sure. I really like that one. I think it's really, really good. I didn't think Central Intelligence was that bad. So that was another one that I was considering. And then War Dogs was another one that I just recently just watched, which is pretty decent also. So those were the ones that I had off the top of my head that I thought, you might have a chance of liking. But I think you might like The Accountant the best out of those three. I personally would probably prefer some of those other ones, but I really do like The Accountant quite a bit. So.
Yeah, I remember you liked it. I was pretty sure you were going to pick that one. And the other ones, they've all been kind of.
I don't know if any of those other ones will either, but
those are all kind of on my list at some point. I just haven't watched them. And 13 Hours, I'd heard it has kind of a right-wing bend to it, but I've also heard the opposite.
I mean, it kind of does. I mean, I didn't go into it with those expectations, but but I have heard that after watching it. I didn't go into it thinking that. I just went into it taking it on its own merit. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good, true crime kind of thriller, if you will. So to see how everything kind of unfolded, and I felt like the film did keep it kind of impartial. So I don't think that they leaned one way or another. I mean, there is one scene in particular where they're like kind of waiting on a call. And that's kind of where the Benghazi thing came up from, you know what I mean? Like the Hillary Clinton thing, they were kind of waiting on a call to take action. So I think that's the scene where people are kind of saying, oh, yeah, this is a right-wing thing. But outside of that, I didn't get that feeling. So,
all right. I'll probably see it eventually.
But I didn't go with that one either way. So. Yeah, I mean, definitely wanted to check out eventually. And War Dogs isn't bad either. I didn't love it, but it's not bad. So
yeah, another one that's been on my list, just never got to the top.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that is our year. Unless there's anything else you wanted to add.
Nope.
No? Cool. All right. Well, we thank you guys for watching. As always, if you like the channel, we ask that you like, subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification, and we'll be back again with another show for you guys again real soon. We thank you for watching and hope you have a great day. Bye.
Bye.